When we think, we are not just talking to ourselves but also listening to the spiritual voices around us. When you are lost in thought, you might not just be reflecting. Something much greater could be happening. Did you know that? If you want to understand the difference between your thoughts and spiritual inspirations in practice, you are in the right place. This knowledge can transform the way you make decisions in 2025 and help you establish more beneficial spiritual connections. So take some time for your spiritual side by watching this video until the end. And to start your year in the best possible way, comment the following positive affirmation below for yourself. I overflow with health, energy, vitality, and prosperity, or I am grateful to the universe for all that 2024 positively offered my life. So you can also bless the passing year with gratitude instead of cursing it and attracting negative energies into 2025. Now that you've commented, let's get to the point. First of all, we need to understand some concepts, such as understanding that our thoughts are like antennas that capture and transmit energy, and this dynamic is governed by the law of affinity. This law explains that we attract spiritual companions who vibrate at the same frequency as our thoughts. If we cultivate elevated thoughts, such as gratitude and hope, we connect with like-minded spirits who inspire and protect us. On the other hand, dissonant thoughts like fear, envy, resentment, or bitterness can open doors to less beneficial spiritual influences. We dedicate a part of this video to talk about the negative spiritual influences in our lives and how to distinguish what is our thought or the thought of an external spirit that may wish us harm. However, to know this, first we need to understand the difference between intuition and rational thought. It's important to understand that intuition is a fascinating tool, but it is often confused with rational thought. While logical reasoning is based on analysis, prior information, and conscious deductions, intuition is almost like a divine spark that appears without warning, bringing clear answers. Imagine a moment when you felt something was going to happen without any concrete proof. That's the realm of intuition, where your spiritual mentors find a bridge to communicate. These guidances appear as a hunch or an inexplicable certainty, guiding us through safe and uplifting paths. For instance, when deciding to accept a job opportunity that seemed uncertain but felt right, you might be listening to this subtle communication. Practices like meditation and even developing mediumship in an appropriate spiritual center help you better understand these subtle differences. Try starting the day with a few minutes of silence, putting a question in your mind, and letting the answer emerge without forcing it. It may seem simple, but it's in these pauses that the mentors find space to act. Doing this frequently and at a specific time of day when your mentor is likely close to you will help create this connection. You may be wondering who these mentors are and what they actually are. Let's talk about them now. But before we do, if you've liked this video so far, subscribe to our channel, activate notifications, or just leave a like. It takes a second but helps us continue producing serious spiritual content and helps this video reach more people. Agreed. Now, answering your possible doubts. The answer is quite simple. Spiritual guides and mentors are true companions on our journey, assigned to help us walk the path of evolution. They are spirits who are on the other side of life, a bit more advanced in terms of spiritual evolution, guiding, influencing, and orienting us to take the right path in our lives. They know us from past lives, unlike what we call obsessing spirits, who are people who have passed away and come closer due to imbalances. These guides and mentors work from love, wisdom, and a higher purpose. They do not interfere with our free will but subtly guide us. Have you ever noticed that inspiration that arises at the right moment or that sign that seems to direct you? Many times, it is their action trying to illuminate your path. Identifying the influence of guides requires sensitivity and practice. Their touches are like gentle breezes. They don't invade but make their presence felt with serenity. A spiritual mentor never imposes ideas. On the contrary, they suggest paths that resonate with inner peace. If you are facing an important decision and feel an unusual tranquility when choosing one path, you are probably listening to your mentor. This contact can be strengthened with simple practices, such as creating moments of introspection, offering sincere prayers, or even writing in a spiritual journal, recording your intuitions. Knowing how to differentiate your own thoughts from the influence of guides requires practice and self-knowledge. Often, the thoughts that come from them are marked by clarity and a sense of certainty that transcends logic. A good exercise is to ask yourself, does this idea promote love, peace, or growth? If the answer is yes, you can trust you are tuning into something higher. And like a radio, the more you adjust your frequency, the clearer the communication becomes. On the other hand, if your radio is tuned to a lower frequency, you are subject to the law of affinity and might be in contact with spirits that are in a similar vibration as yours on the other side of life. Dissonant thoughts are like half-open doors to these negative spiritual influences. These beings are usually connected to us by bonds of grievance or imbalances from the past, whether in this life or others, and find openings in emotions like anger, envy, or fear. Have you noticed how, sometimes, a negative thought seems to repeat insistently without apparent reason? This is one of the subtle forms of obsessive contact, which can intensify if it's not noticed and treated. Identifying the presence of an obsessing influence requires attention to mental and emotional patterns. Constant fatigue, self-destructive thoughts, or sudden mood swings can indicate this type of contact. But be careful, not every emotional discomfort is the work of obsessing spirits. Discernment is necessary. A practical tip is to observe whether these thoughts persist even when you try to combat them with prayer or meditation. If relief doesn't come, it might be time to seek spiritual help in a serious spiritual center. Specifically, we recommend a spiritist center. If this video made sense to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe a friend or a spiritual group is looking for answers about spiritual influences, and this content might be exactly what they need. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to continue exploring such profound and transformative themes. The journey is just beginning, and together we can go much further. See you in the next video. Peace profound.